Everyone. So I am recording my project 2 for my Intro to Unix class. So my task 1 asks me to create a web directory structure called Sandbox that contains the following directory structures. Root is the root directory of Sandbox. Okay, so it's asking me to create CSS, images, and scripts which are connected to Sandbox. So first thing I would do is I would create Sandbox. So sudo mkdir sandbox. Yep. So it's asking me for my password. Okay. So I already created a sandbox directory. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure that I have definitely created the entire directory structure. We'll go through one at a time. So sudo mkdir sandbox css. It exists. Great. Next, sudo dir sandbox images. Great. So that exists as well. And lastly, sudo sandbox. Okay, so that all exists. I'm just going to make sure. Ah, next that HTML. There we go. I think I may have found my problem. Okay, so so anyway, there we go. So that seems to have been the problem. I guess I was putting a forward slash instead of a period between index and HTML. So moving on from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that there are empty files or empty image files uh, inside of sandbox images. So let's start with that. Sudo touch to create it, sandbox images, and then logo 1.png. Perfect, so I created it. Amazing. Next is sudo touch sandbox images logo 2.png. Awesome. Okay, now what I'm going to do is then copy that and put it into the correct paths. So here I'm going to do sudo. So I'm copying CP from sandbox images logo 1.png over to var www images. Awesome. Start with that. Yes, it worked. Next, we're going to do the same thing, but I'm super lazy. So I'm going to copy this right here. Oh, copy, paste. And I'm going to right here. Man, I hate this about this. Okay. And we're going to do 2. Perfect. Awesome. So that just copied the logo 1 over to variable www images, and the same thing for logo 2. So now that that is done, we're going to move on from there. So moving on from that point, what we would be doing is setting the permissions. So in the instructions, it says all files and directories must be set to read only for everyone except root user, which should be set to full control. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to see right here. So we're doing the fourth step here. So it says all files and directories must be set to read only for everyone except root user, which should be set to root control. So then the question is, how do we do that? So I would start off with sudo, of course, because it'll start you off with some elevated privileges. Then, let's see, I'll do cmod. So probably chmod because it's changing the mode or the commands and permissions. Let me see here. And then probably I would use, let's see, R right here. Because I want to change it recursively. 444, and then probably sandbox. I think so. So we basically are doing elevated privileges, and then we are changing the permission, and then we are setting it to recursively be read only for the owner or basically the root user. Oh, sorry. So everyone except for the root user will have read-only access to the files and directories within Sandbox. Perfect. So that's what we do there first. So that is just to make sure that it's only read-only, except for the root user. So we would pop that in there. Let me go ahead and enter my password, which is really annoying, but I can't say that Mac does it any better. Perfect. Next. So then I want to set the full controls to the user. Sorry, I mean set full control for root. So I would do sudo to elevate my privileges. Same thing, CHOWN though this time. Which basically is going to change the ownership right here. It's going to do recursive. There we go. Recursive, and we're going to do root to root. And basically this will make sure that the root user, or me, has full control to read, write, and execute over all files and directories that would be inside the sandbox directory right there. But in order to do that, oh crap, yeah, I have to make sure that I have sandbox. There we go. So basically what that is doing is making sure that I am able to do everything, or the root user is able to do everything, which means I can read, write, and create, or I guess you could say execute, um, for all the files that are within Sandbox. So we would enter. Perfect. And we're set. There we go. So next, what it's asking me to do is asking me to create a web listing file directory. Let's see. There it is. Create a file called web listing in sandbox root that contains the redirected output of the directed listing of sandbox root and subfolders. Let's see here. Let's see, so I would do sudo again for the elevate command, ls, and then let's do okay, 1 second because I'm taking a look right now. Let's see what command. Um, yeah, I could do that. Okay, so then what I would do is I would do this. So what that does is it lists or shows like the contents of sandbox directory, and then it becomes, I guess it shows it recursively. Um, and so that'll show me basically all the information regarding like um, sandbox itself once, but I have to make sure. I want to forget this. I keep forgetting to actually put the directory name there. Let's see. They also want to redirect the output of the ls command. So yeah, and for let's see, creating a file called web listing inside of sandbox. Yeah, then I would simply just do sandbox and then do web and listing. So that should redirect or put the output of my ls command should be put into file listing. Sorry, web listing in sandbox. Okay, good. So I believe that should work. Nice. Okay, let's see. Boom. Okay, so taking a look at it, it looks like I messed up and I ended up basically booting myself out and not giving myself permission um, to actually read, write, or do anything to that file. So I honestly forgot my username there, so I just ended up using the who am I command, found what my name was, and this what I did is I ended up giving myself permission to get into that file. Um, so right there I did sudo, then chown r, and then my username, and then sandbox. So now I have permission to do whatever I want in there. So going back, I'm going to then copy that same command that I had before, which is this guy, because I ain't typing all that. Paste. Skadoosh. Oh. Um. Hmm. Okay then. Okay. So I took a look at it again after I got denied again and went in here. And firstly, I had to check to make sure that I have right permissions for the sandbox. So what I did is I put this command in here. So sudo chmod, modify, whatever, recursive, then 755. That basically gave me the ability to read, write, and execute permissions. I had to look that up again. Um, that way, the owner of it, can actually do anything to it. I just put in sandbox, which is obviously the directory. Then after that, what it is, I made sure that I have that ownership, so I put it in there, and I do. next, I tried to create the file again, which I did, and it worked. So I didn't have any denial or anything like that, which is great. And then all I did was make sure that it exists, and it does. So that's great. So moving on from there, I'll have to move on to the step 6, which is create a file called avail images in Sandboxer that contains the redirected output of the directory listing of the var www images directory that and only shows files that have the extension of PNG. That's a mouthful. So let me think here. Obviously, we want to start off with sudo ls 1, then there www images, and then we are going to use there we go. And we're going to use this dot png, and then let me see here, probably same. Yep, there we go. Sandbox, and then yeah, we want to create the file. So let's do avl images there, and that should do it. Boom, done. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Now that that is finished, next, let me see here. Yeah, so, okay. Now that was task 1. Now task 2, that was obviously create a YouTube video using a screen capture program that demonstrates your mastery of task 1. Also demonstrates meta characters, password changes, and command piping. So usually what we would want to do for, okay, let's start off with just password changing. So with password changing, you would want to use the password command, which is just PASS, oh, sorry about that, PASSWD. And that will allow you to follow the kind of prompts to change the password there. So that is how you can do that. So you'd have to put in the current password and then change the password that way. If I wanted to change my password for Zachary Paulson. And then, let me see, one second, I have to remember what is the command to get. Okay, so I'm trying to remember how the heck do I get out of here, because I don't actually want to change the password at all. Guys, that's a lot to remember. Anyway, sorry about that. I was trying to figure out how to get out of there. I just ended up pressing enter twice until it basically just gave me a manipulation error. So that is basically how you change the password. If you want to change the password for yourself, and then you just put in PASSWD, and then you have to enter in your current password in order to change it. Now, next I want to go over meta characters. So basically, there is a wildcard, which is this guy right here. Oh, what's it? Why is it? There you go. And basically, this is what I used while I was doing something like ls sandbox images, and then PNG. And basically what it is, it's like a special character that represents like a set of characters. So like this symbol right there, that is basically like a wildcard character that matches the like order of characters, or I guess like a sequence of characters. Um, So yeah, that's basically what it does. What it does right here is it just executes a command to like to list all the PNG files in that specific directory. So like if I do that, there we go. So it shows me logo 1 and logo 2, which is pretty nice that it can just show you that pretty easily. But it is a really like powerful way like to um, do I guess operations or like to manipulate specific file types that show a type of pattern like PNG right there. So that just makes it easier. Like I guess you could technically do logo. Possibly, yeah, basically logo. No, PNG is just easier because it's just an attribute. Because technically logo, that could be capital or whatever else. Um, so yeah, it actually makes it a lot easier because it's a PNG file. I guess you could do the same with JPEG or whatever else, but that just makes it easier. And then the password changing, like I was showing you before, it's just ASSWD, pretty simple. And the command piping, which is the next thing. Uh, Basically, it's like a way to use the output of like a single command um, as kind of like the input for another. So basically, ls, it's just like listing. We do one, for example, list files in long format. Uh, and if we wanted to do something else, let me see here. Let's see, why I put one L here. So that just shows things in long format, whereas you could do something else that's a little different, like view S, which basically counts the number of lines, um, and it basically like gives you like, a count as well of files that are inside of a directory. So like if you wanted to find out like the amount of files that are inside of a directory, if it's 110 or whatever, that can help that as well. But no, it's a really nice and easy way to process and analyze like a lot of data, but just from the command line. But yeah, that was my project 2. I hope you guys liked it and see you again soon.